We're already live. So
Okay,
start.
got it.
Sorry.
All right. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody who's watching it in recording, who's gonna be here live. I want to introduce somebody to you guys. The name is of our Russian speaker is Oleg Ryazanov, and we'll try translate his very fresh video that's been recorded yesterday. The information that's been given by that Superman, I would say, Oleg Ryazanov, is such a value to everybody, to a humanity in total. I'm gonna go straight to a video and share it, and we can start with translation. Let me find Frederick. For some reason, I don't see I am able to share the screen.
You are not able to share your screen?
Yes, sorry, yes. Because I think I can just put the video on and keep translating it.
Here at stop the video from mute, then stop the video, then there's the share. Then you choose maybe Google.
Oh, I see it now.
Okay, yeah,
awesome.
there.
Okay, share. Let me know when it's shareable. I see that.
Good. I see you. I see the sharing. It's on.
Awesome.
It's okay. Good.
Okay. All right. So it's unclear at this point right now, but I trust you. Stay with us. We'll try to translate as much as possible today for you to get the best out of this Superman, I would say. No other words to describe. All right, let's go. Just 1 second. Frederick, do you hear what's he's saying? Or it's a background?
Play it again. Can you play? I'll see if you can hear you.
One second, Frederick. Yeah. I want to just make sure it's feeding and you can see it. Are you still able to see it?
We can see you, we can't hear you, but don't worry about hearing because we are not done any connection. Yeah.
Right.
So just translate it that way.
Okay, so Oleg is saying that everything started, his story started when he was 22 years old. At that point, he was serving in army as a soldier, having a team under him that he was leading. One day, he came home, everything was normal, no injuries, no nothing. He just came home from work, went into sleep and woke up in the morning paralyzed. All his body, every single part of his body been paralyzed. Paralyzed. Every move of his body is in pain. He couldn't move, he couldn't stand up. Up to when he couldn't even stand up, to a point that he started to lose his couldn't stand up. The wife called emergency pick him up. And doctors is giving him reviewing his body, his conditions, doing different procedures to check what's going on, and turns out his spine has one of the one of his vertebrae, not sure I'm saying it correctly, vertebra, one of his spine bone been dissolved. No, moved, I'm sorry. Moved and affected the nerve. Right leg been paralyzed completely. The left leg was unmovable with a lot of pain. Half of the year he been going through a treatment to do something to move his body, to try to heal his body from whatever injury happened to him. There was no evidence of injury, but as a the medical review and all that procedure shows, he's been paralyzed because of the problem with the spine. The medical field been trying to do whatever they were trying to do. They truly was trying to help, but nothing helped. Nothing was working. I've been sent home. I've been sent home and I was not able to receive the payment earnings from government because the injury happened outside of the facility where he was working, serving. It happened in the house, so for that matter, is a reason that it's not related to serving in army. He wasn't able to receive any earnings. Young wife, one child, and I am paralyzed. I am from Soviet Union. I'm from Soviet Union. In the Soviet Union, we had one thing in every house. Every house had the radio, and every morning on that radio, for some reason, there was always the same song. If you want to be healthy, go and закаляйся. Translating. Go do a cold, like what is the name, process with the cold water. Just go into the cold water. You want to be healthy, go and do procedures in the cold water. Go swim in the cold water, or get a bucket of cold water regularly, throw it over your body. And that happened like for the first time in my life. Then when I heard the song over and over again, I started to think maybe this is the way universe is talking to me, and that's the way I have to try to heal myself. And with that, and that's how it's happened. Me paralyzed, listening that song, drive me to go through the winter cold weather, moving my body, crawling on a cold or winter ground, leaving half of my skin on that ground just to get to a source of water, cold water. I was crying, but I was keep crawling to outside, the water outside, was getting 2 buckets of cold, freezing cold water, was throwing it over my body and would move back into the house, crawl back into the house. Half an hour, 1.5 months, I realized that I don't have any more pain that I used to when I crawl to that source of water outside of the house. I realized that I'm no longer crawling, but I am more moving in a better way, more flexible. My body became more flexible. One year and a half, I've healed myself completely. Not sure what happened. Not sure what happened. A year and a half, I completely healed myself. I can guess that the cold water expanded the process of blood circulation, as well as it also turns on your dream or your vision that you want to be, expanding that vision, making it more real for you when you do the cold procedure with a picture in your mind that you want to be this certain way. It makes that picture come true. It's like a prayer, but prayer, more stronger prayer. After that, what happened 20 when I was 22, I never been at medical facilities. I never searched for medical support. I never been sick since that time. And I've learned one thing from that purpose, from that experience. And I stopped to do this cold procedures with the cold water because as all Russians, we tend to make something work, and once it works, we give up on it because we healed completely. There is no need to do it. And though on top of it, the cold water, who's loving to do a process with the cold water? Now I have the understanding that there is no cold and hot water. Now my conscious accept the idea based on my experience, but that back then I didn't know that there is a no cold water thing. It's all created in our mind. And I found myself that everybody's from time to time gets sick, and only me around anybody who's sick. Feels like nothing is taking me. I never get sick since that time. Mhm. And at one point, this communication, things with the water turned into something different. I born in Tyumen in Russia. We're really cold. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not translating altogether all that back and forth, which is not related to exact point that we're trying to show you here, because it's just like some things from Russian, how Russians think or Russians are doing. But he's very, very hilarious. So sometimes later I was looking for a place to move. Where would I would want to live? Because to me it's really cold. It's always freezing. It's always snow. And I found Kaliningrad, which is another part of Russia, sort of cool, tourist place with the sea, on the sea. And that's how things moved further. In 2008, when there was a crisis in the United States, that crisis reached its point, a high point in Russia in 2010. A lot of people lost jobs, and I was the same way. I lost job. My wife lost job as well. We didn't know what to do at that point, and we've decided to just turn the page and start over. Nothing holds us back. There is no work that holds us back. Nothing could be worse. So we've decided to build our dream. Looked at the map. Have decided to move to the place we would want to build our house on. Decided on the Baltic. So we moved there. No people that we know there. Nobody we know. No job, no work. My two diploma didn't do anything there because it was really small town. I had option to do lectures for one of the schools for the first year and a half. And that's it. But I found that there is nothing I could do to earn money for my family. And I started to be creative. And I started to be creative, thinking, what am I able to do to just make my life better and create a better life for all? Проруби. I'm trying to translate one проруби. And I found one of the Guinness record, one of the guy done a Guinness record swimming in the ice hole, the hole with the ice. 2 kilometers, 2,000 kilometers, he was swimming in that ice water. And set the record. And I've realized that I am capable of communicating with water. I'm capable of work with the water source because I treat myself through that. So I've started to look into Hina's records, see what records still not beaten. And I've decided to learn which not beaten. I can take that and I can set the record, new record. For example, at that point, I found that there is no record swimming in the ice water on the like with the, in the back on your back, swimming on the back in the ice water. And of course, it's funny because there is no record swimming in the ice water on your back. So whatever would I swim, that would be my record, and I can set that up. I seriously do get it's really funny when there is no record swimming in the back in the ice water. It's funny if I even swim 5 minutes, it will be already record. Yes, I know this is hilarious. Though I still wanted to do something really good, really cool. And I've decided to do the same, set the record swimming in the back in ice water, but do the fast record, the fastest swimmer on the back in the ice water. And there was a lot of training I've done in water, in winter water in the sea, 2 months prior to set the record. And it was really hard. And if you never went into the ice cold water, if you never touched the ice cold water with your finger, you wouldn't get why it's so hard. Now, guess you would want to be there. You would need to be there for a couple minutes at least. And then swimming, it's your head should be all the way down under the water. And during the process of setting that record, I had a team, that rescue team, from point A to point B. And during my process of swimming in that ice cold water, the one of the rescue team realized that I moved toward the wrong direction, so they pulled me out of the water, and that's how my first record, Guinness record, set. All my records are not as interesting as it was for me, so I'm not gonna go into my record. Some of my records, I don't even remember how I set them up. I just lost my whole sense of being present. I just set the record, that's it. Out of my 12 records that I set, two been the most fascinated that I would want to share with. Those two records been beginning of my journey that I'm going for now, that I'm living now. They open up a lot of things, some very special experience, and set my life. And one of the record is where I've released the statement that I'm able to melt the ice with my body temperature. It's with a bucket, in a bucket of 500 liters, 500 liters ice in the bucket, and my body. And me being in that ice, just to turn ice into water with your body temperature. All the techniques, breathing techniques, meditation techniques, a lot of different techniques from different culture I've learned just to set that right. Including the practices from some sports like kickboxing and energy, working with energy, jumping on but to jump, sky jumping. And I will explain why that was part of the procedure to get ready for the bucket ice full of water. Because during that process, you can easily lose your mind, you lose your consciousness, connection to your consciousness. And it calls death. At that point, I still didn't know that there is that you can come back from death when you lose the connection to your consciousness. In order to keep yourself alive, you need to keep the connection to your consciousness, strong connection. In order to keep a strong connection to your consciousness, you want, during the process, be very clear on where your feet, where your body, and where your consciousness. So you can concentrate your consciousness on the parts of your body. As long as you can concentrate your attention, fixate your attention on a part of your body, you can keep your consciousness on and be alive. And it also very depend on your vestibular. Sorry, guys, translating. Vestibular sorry.
No worry. Just take your time.
On your body, vestibular. I can't even pronounce that. Oh, the body. Because during this process of being in such a condition, your mind, your subconscious, your brain will sabotage, and then your brain will try to lose a connection to your body, to keep it straight, connected one to another. It's very strong procedure within your body to concentrate and keep everything together. So for that purpose, the sky jumping, not from the sky, but on a trampoline jumping is helping you with the vestibular, to keep connection between your brain, between your consciousness and parts of your body. And also it fights your fear. which very important to keep under control during the process of setting the record. At that point, nobody would tell you, do what scares you, do what you fear to do, and you will break the fear. I've learned it through this process. So the time came, the bucket with ice is ready for this process. I am getting myself ready to go into the bucket by getting myself into meditation state, getting to a alpha state, Thera state. So it's kind of, you control your energy through your own fixating your mind on the energy of your body. So I put myself into trance state. Thera state. So I put myself into the Thera state where I am in meditation, deep meditation. I am in the bucket of ice, full of ice. And what got me off of my Thera state is a medical doctor. They're trying to shake me. I'm opening the eyes and I see the doctor. And now I'm going to just quickly explain how it looks from the outside. There is a whole crew who is with me to set this record. The doctors are ready, the medicals are ready. Nobody knows how long it's going to take for me to melt the ice, and if it's even possible. My body stops to act like being alive. It starts to bruises out, starts to change the color, turning into blue. So admins don't know what to do. They call the ambulance. And at that point, when the medical came, they tried my temperature, the body of my temperature, and it was around 26 Celsius. At that point, nobody knew that the human being able to be alive with a body temperature of 26 Celsius. But on top of it, when the doctor started to measure all other life keys, my pulse, my blood pressure, my eyes, check my eyes, my reaction, all the parameters are normal. I am alive. The only thing is the temperature of my body is only 26 Celsius. That's it. So they asked me if I'm capable, if I want to continue, and I said, I want to continue. And that's how I felt. Like everything was fast in my understanding, in my brain, but from the outside, you would see me like I'm drunk and everything is slow, and I'm saying, yes, I'm ready to continue. So at that point, my trance vanished and I wasn't able to get myself back into the trance state. So I started to do a different process, breathing technique, incorporating breathing technique. 1 hour later, 1.5 hours later, and I'm looking into the ice that I'm sitting in, and none of the ice cube melted. And I'm looking into my skin, looking at my skin, and it's so different. The color, I can't even recognize my skin. And at that point, I understand I can set the record. I am super, I have such a achievement in my life. I've done so much physically. I am on top of my physical performance. I am handled, I'm capable to use any techniques, breathing techniques, meditation, state of performing my physical body in different states, but I can't melt even one ice cube. But it doesn't cost anything because none of the ice cube been melted at this point. It's funny now, but those old processes, the performance that I've done before, the prior to this procedure to set the record, paid off. And of something happened, something came into my mind. At that point, that day when I was having the process to setting up the new record, Guinness record, it was a city day, the holiday in the city, the when they celebrate the establishment of that town. And it's supposed to be a firework later on, and my mind was thinking this way, weirdly, that it would be a nice picture, me sitting in the ice, melting, trying to melt the ice and watching the firework in the sky. And another thing that been very funny that offered by my followers to during this procedure to read the Lermontov the poem, which I know to the heart. So I've decided to start reading that from the memory that was coming up, that poem. All my brain been so involved in reading that poem. The funny point that everything been recorded, and when I was watching the recording, it was looking like I was drunk, slowly moving from one word to another. But in my brain, it was very fast. It's been like I flew through the poem fast. And once I finished reading the poem, I looked around and realized that there is no more ice. And it's I've been shocked that I didn't even realize when I wasn't even paying attention at that ice for the reading of that poem, recalling it from my memory, all the ice, I melt the ice with my body temperature. And when I was looking at the thermometer, I've noticed that the thermometer got up to 12 degrees Celsius. And at that point, it's been 2 hours, 25 minutes from the start of this record, setting up the record. That's what's been registered. And I've understood at that point, I've learned something, that it wasn't me who melted the ice, but who did the melt the ice. How did I turn ice into water? I didn't realize my body wasn't capable of doing it. So it set me to learn something else, that my brain created the reality. So I started to learn and combine a lot of different practices from different cultures. I covered a lot of meditation states, meditation practices from different cultures, the breathing techniques from different sources. I started to practice daily what I've done, what happened, how I've been able to turn that ice into water. I started to learn and incorporate in my learning a lot of different sources. And there was a time then which I've been spending up to 10 hours a day just to combine and change the practices. But I was keep practicing with my brain, with my breathing, with my meditation, with my delta different states of being, to get to a point, how did I change the reality? And I got to a point where I've been able to combine a lot of different sources and practices into one. I call that one the state of superpower. And that's the state of superpower where I am leading you today to show that it's possible and you all have. And that's where I will use to help Evgeny to change his reality today. He's been paralyzed for the last 22 years, and he doesn't feel the feet. 25 years he's not moving. His body is not paralyzed completely. He doesn't feel his body below his solar plexus. But I've been communicating with him through ether. Through ether. I've been testing his energy body through ether, and I see that there is a possibility he will walk. So if I feel there is a possibilities through ether, through his energy, then there is a chances he will walk. I've been counted those state of being in the superpower a lot of times within my practices. One of those practices that show me that there is no reality, that you create your reality, showed that there is no reality. One of the practices showed me completely that there is nothing, you create your reality. For example, I've used a lot of swimming practices. I swim a lot by getting ready for one of things or the other. I swim a lot in the cold water. And this always happens when you start swimming. For the first hour, your mind and brain is busy talking. Hour later, as you keep swimming, your brain starts to silence your talk, inner talk, I apologize. My English, I am so rushing through. I'm sorry. Let myself, I'm gonna inhale. Exhale. So first hour swimming in the cold water, you find yourself talking, a lot of talk, internal talk. Hour later, you find your brain is silencing little by little. And only one more point, not to get to, not to break your hat, because it's, I'm swimming in the cold pool. When I get to one side of the pool, so I consciously will understand that's the side of the pool. I need to turn my body backward for the next couple kilometers. And then you get to a point when your body is starting to feel tired to even turn back from one corner of the pool to go to another. And you find yourself doing it automatically without any control. And over the time while swimming, you find yourself that there is no more tiredness in your body. You feel nothing. It's like you are nothing and you are powerful so much. Everything becoming like you are swimming in a sort of capsules, and everything else just vanishing. There is only you swimming in sort of a feeling of you are swimming in the capsules and nothing else exists. And that's the state of your being when you feel that this is the state of superpower. But I found myself more I practiced, I found a quicker way to get myself into that state of power where you don't feel tired and you don't feel any thoughts, nothing is bothering you. I found how to do it fast in a short amount of time so you control your reality. At this point, I was able to do a lot of things and check how my state of being in my mind, my superpower feels in different things as I'm doing, how to control that state of being in superpower. Nowadays, I've leading a lot of people who is asking for help to treat themselves to get them back into a shape and back them to back walk again. So I don't have any much time to do it for myself, but I do it now for people. But I've learned through my experience how to do it so I can apply it to other people and help them to do it and heal themselves. And when I started to learn this practice, being in superpower, something happened, something shifted. The money became nothing to me, but they started to come my way. And what I found the key to control the reality. Creating the reality, moving from one reality to another. I've realized that there is a lot of dimensions and you just open the door to the other dimension and get the source of what you need from the other dimension, bring it into your dimension. The desire of looking for money stopped because I found to be able to access any sources from other dimensions. And yes, I agree that money is a material world, and sometimes we do need the money. Or to create some project, you do need funds. And the money came not the question for me at that point. The time stopped making sense to me either. 3 years ago, I found myself becoming younger. Something happened and I found how to get younger. But it's a certain process that you work on yourself. Lately, I don't have time to do it, so I got a little bit out of the shape, I would say, though I know how to do it. But it's the same as with communicating with water or working with water. You don't have to do the process like throwing the cold ice bucket of water over you to get healthy. You get it for sometimes, you get to the state you desire, and then you stop doing it for some times until the next time you want to get back into the shape. Same with getting younger. But I know for sure now, at any point, if I desire to get 10, 15 years younger, I know how to do it. All that I wish now is that the process to get younger, I will practice out to get it faster into that state of being younger, getting body younger faster than rather than the way I know now. Similar with that, the power state, where I know now how to get people, how to get myself into the state of power. I know how to get people into the state of power in a short amount of time. Same with healing yourself and making yourself younger. Turn the process of getting old into the process of getting young. I found if I need something, the things comes my way. So when I really would need to learn more about getting younger in a faster way, the tools will come. But at that point, going back to a state of being superpower and superpower, I started to experiment more and more. I've learned that we all contain all information about everybody and about the universe, but we don't know about it. We forgot about it. That state of being in power, superpower, gives you access to that information. I've recalled who is a human being, why we came to the earth. I've recalled who are the gods, how we get to a point being a god. I've recalled how I got into the matrix that calls Earth, life Earth, and how I got into that life Earth that calls matrix. And how he is referring to they, getting energy out of us. And what the most important I recall, that I am here on this planet, on this earth, in this matrix, because I am like an energizer. I am a battery. I'm a source of energy. I am the source of energy, just like you all. And we've been draining, and they drain our energy to support something else, to support the other, something else. And this memories is being revealed more and more, and they are coming as insights. Those memories allow me to open up some physical capability, including the capability of healing people. At this point now, so far, I had 5 people that I communicated close enough, and I have a very straight results. I've been able to heal their body that been paralyzed and they're walking all. I have the first want to mention Nadezhda Koltsin, something like that, Leningrad, from Leningrad, Nadezhda Koltsin, the lady who was paralyzed, one of her patients. Nadezhda Koltsin, I'm sorry on the name. Might be a translation not clear because I have it on expedite. Beautiful lady, beautiful lady. And when she started to, when she went up on her feet for the first time, she is so tall. When I put her on her feet after her being paralyzed for a long time, she turned out so tall. And I told her when I put her on her feet, I told her next time I come back to this place, you will meet me at the airport and you will stand on your feet wearing heels. Month later, I came back to where she lived. When I put her back on her feet and she started to walk, she's meeting me at the airport, standing on her feet, wearing heels. And I was looking up at her because she's so tall and I'm so small. Unclear what happened to her. She was walking one day and then down the street, and then at some point she stopped walking. She fell on the ground. She fell on the ground. She couldn't move her body. People brought her back into the house, into ambulance first. Got the ambulance, get her. They started to research what happened to the lady. Nothing been injured. She's healthy. She's been released back into the house, but she couldn't walk. She'd been paralyzed. No sense of being paralyzed from the medical science, so they couldn't find anything. They released her because there was no anything they could do. She is healthy. There is no signs of being paralyzed from the medical standpoint, but she couldn't move her body. And all her question was, how am I gonna walk if how are you releasing me if I'm not able to walk? They couldn't help. It's funny now, but when you look at the diagnosis of her, there is no signs of her being sick, but she couldn't move. She'd been paralyzed. So they sent her to a psychologist. Maybe there was something damaged there. The doctors would assumed. The psychologist reviewed and did some diagnostics, didn't find anything, and released her back into the house, released her from facility. Couldn't help her, said that she's healthy. He couldn't find anything that triggered her being paralyzed. So since that time, it's past 3 months past, she couldn't move. She was straight laying on her bed all those 3 months. But her muscles still was alive. They didn't turn into the stones because it wasn't too long since she had been paralyzed. So at that point, her muscles still been alive, not like my other patient who had her muscles paralyzed as well, died or atrophiировались. Atrophied. So at this point, in this case, she had her muscles that been still alive. And with my other case, where the lady was having no muscles at that point, because muscle been atrophied, they've been dissolved. She had only bones and skin over the bones. She couldn't move because it's been for so long, almost long time she been paralyzed. But even though that case where she couldn't walk, the other lady with no muscles, I was able to put her back on her feet. Of course, it's not started from the first session. But the other case that I mentioned, the lady who had her muscles atrophied, no muscles, she got into a car accident, and all her parts of her body been broken down. That's why she couldn't move. She'd been paralyzed completely. Her feet, her hands been broken, her legs been broken. Even her head was partially hanging on the shoulder. What doctors did, that just put her body together and released her back into released her because they couldn't make her walk. And first session, of course, with that lady who couldn't, who got into car accident, who had atrophied muscles, the first thing that I did for her, I moved her hands, and she started to lift her hands. And now she is this is not a fast procedure for people with such a injury to get back into a shape right away. But my point, my target, my goal is to show conscious and brain that it's possible. Give the brain the evidence that is all possible within the brain ability. And then the brain, since the brain gets the evidence that it's possible that the person can walk again, it's just a matter of time. The brain will build up the reality for that person. And the brain is not just limit us, it's also expand us as well. Everything depends on what you have, what beliefs you have, what values, values your brain has, and what beliefs you gave to your brain. By giving evidence that it's possible for you to walk again, you will give your brain direct statement to create the different reality. And the brain will make it happen. There is another case, Andrei Grigoriev from Sochi. Different story. A little bit more than a year, he fell from the parachute, and he felt very badly. So the half of his body been broken in pieces. He was not unconscious. And the doctor said that if he even stays alive, he will never walk. Get back he get back to his conscious. His parents started to bring him to expensive clinics to try to heal his body, to try to help his body. Every doctor turned him away because there is no possibilities from the medical standpoint. That person with the pieces of his body put him back together, no connection between the pieces, paralyzed completely, can't ever walk. And they would say, if he is alive, be happy that he is stayed alive at this point. December 7th, he actually stood up on his feet and made a couple steps. I flew to Sochi, where he lived, to help him through the process. We had a couple of sessions. We set a couple of sessions, and through those sessions, he'd been able to stand back on his feet. And at that point, I posted on my social media, we recreated the human history. We recreated whose human being is, how much things possible to us, how many different realities we live, and we can access that sources that we need here in this reality from other dimensions. We can access the reality where he is still walking, where he physically still in shape, not this one, but put him into the state and show that there is another reality where he is walking. He can access that. His brain will take it as a statement that is possible, and will create the reality in this universe, in this reality, and will make this reality that he is going to walk again, and the healing process will take place. The only point that our brain is so straight, it's not letting us to go too far in different dimensions, because it's like blocks us. It's a savings. It saves us our conscious. If we move for a person too far into different dimensions, the brain blocks us. And nobody knows what would happen at that point when the conscious is off. And most of the time you can call that side effect schizophrenia. Nobody knows how to control schizophrenia. This March 4th and 5th, I had a case with a boy from Moscow who has schizophrenia. Oh my God, I'm sorry, I'm not sure I'm saying it correctly. Schizophrenia. It's official it's official statement of the doctor. He is paralyzed and he has a schizophrenia. He doesn't go outside. His fear is to be outside in the open space. And on March 4th, I had a session and we were walking outside talking about life, which he never done before. We were talking philosophically about different point of view. And then on the March 5th, I offered him to participate, to go into a festival where was supposed to be a lot of people. And you remember his schizophrenia is brought out of the fear of people and being in open space among the people. So remember, the festival include a lot of people. It's a crowd. Some things going. It's been a healing festival where you don't mind. There is a people would stand up on needles, not needles, on гвозди. Nail. So it's a very interesting festival. I brought him on too. People yell there, of course, it's out of pain. Some people doing it for the first time, and you never know what's gonna happen to my to my client. I brought him there just to try different states of his mind to see if he capable of controlling his brain and being in one dimension in this reality with so many different sides things going on at the same time. And what I found useful is that's what I found. I was trying to find a lot of different common sense within the daily, everyday life to show the client that it's possible for other people. Look at the girl. She is a young girl, little beautiful girl, but she is capable of standing on her feet among the people, surrounded by the crowd. But she stands there. She's not running away. She has no fear. She could do it. You could do it. So it's like a direct statement to his brain. So going back to schizophrenia, I don't get the schizophrenia as a sickness or the problem, health, memory, brain problem. I get it as a gift because it's possibilities of seeing different dimensions. Of course, you need to be clear on where you are right now and which reality you are. Of course, when a lot of different dimensions or some different dimensions get into contradict the reality that you are in and starts to mix together, this is the brain gets down. So schizophrenia is when you can't recognize this reality from this dimension where you live, your brain and your conscious present, from all others. So schizophrenia, it's like a gift to look behind what behind this reality is. We are not capable of doing it in our normal state of being. For me to do it, access different dimensions, I need to put myself into the state of mind where I am able and capable of seeing different dimensions. But until our brain controls our destiny and controls the access to other dimensions, it's not easy for us. It's not that easy for us to see other dimensions unless you have schizophrenia. So at that point, brain already aligned and with the idea that there is other dimensions. The only thing that happened in this reality that people think it's bad, and they make it as a sickness, the schizophrenia, that it's fear, it caused the fear, and that's why people get scared of it. That you need to fear the schizophrenia, and that's where the problems comes. And of course, we're going to see what we want to see. And when you have a fear toward something that you are not able to logically explain, it turns, you call it schizophrenia. Because if the person wouldn't be fearing, wouldn't be scared of seeing other dimensions, or at least give a idea that it's possible to see other dimensions, that it's normal, that's okay, that it's okay, we wouldn't have that much cases with schizophrenia. And again, remember that brain will create your reality. If you have a fear that there is other dimensions and it's bad, or that there is no existence of other dimensions, remember that you have a fear that creates the reality, and it will bring fear out of it, and will create your other reality that you don't want to live in. Going back to our records, going back to our topic. Very interesting experience I've went through on my last record, my 12th record, Guinness record, which happened in 2019. When I jumped from the plane, that been over 4 kilometers above the ground. It's been facilitated during the winter. I was getting myself ready for that record for some times. So before to facilitate this jump, of course, I had a team that been calculating what could possibly happen biologically, chemically within the body. Why nobody jump? It's just 4 kilometers high. Nobody was ever looking into it. Of course, it's crazy. But my team looked into a biochemical reaction of the body, what is going on with the body, what would be going on within the body if something like that would happen. And of course, take in account that it's winter, and Yakutia is Siberia. It's very cold. It's Antarctica. It's very cold. And when it's 4 kilometers high, it's not even freezing. It's super freezing during the winter. It was around minus 50 degrees Celsius up on 4 kilometers high in air. But what is jump on its own? Let's look into that. That's what I've set my mind to do. Jump from 4 kilometers high during the winter. The temperature is below freezing, way below freezing. What would happen to a body? So you jump from the plane and you fly with I'm sorry, 1 second. Expanding your speed, being in a free flying mode, free falling mode. The speed of falling is around 50-60 kilometers per second. Have anybody here ever been outside without the clothes during the winter or wind? You would understand the difference. So when it's windy, when you go against the wind, it adds up to even colder feeling of the weather, because it adds up to another 60 degrees Celsius on top of -50, because of the expansion during falling. So if it's -50 degrees Celsius, the temperature, add another 60 degrees, -60 degrees to -50, it comes to somewhere -110 degrees Celsius. It's okay for being in that circumstances around 2 minutes of fall during your falling. With this temperature, the structure of oxygen changes as well. The oxygen becoming heavier, so that's where the friction rubbing happened, rubbing body against the air. And that pressure impact the body. And when we recreated the model prior to the jump to see what would happen to a body with that pressure and the temperature with a free fall, what would happen with the body? You can guess with this temperature. First, what will happen is the belly would being slide open, horizontally. The skin across the belly pops open horizontally. The skin would completely get off the bones and would be attached to shoulders only and the feet. So it would serve as a parachute. Sorry, it's a little bit crazy, but you need to hear that. And of course, it's why I was going for it. Because I was running for understanding that there is no reality. This is all in our brain. And I was capable to change the reality. For the first time in my life, I had no feeling of temperature, no feeling of pressure, no feeling of rubbing my skin wraps against the free fall air that would cause the damage. I actually been very comfortable. And of course, there you go. There is a day of jumping. I am jumping, and I'm jumping with tandem with a team who is a rescuing team. So instructor, he is warmly wearing warm clothes, and I am wearing only shorts. Instructor's parachute opens up, and And instructor is asking me if I'm feeling okay. It's all during the fall. Never, don't mind. It's during this particular fall that he is explaining. And Oleg is saying that at that point I already been put myself in a trance, mind, the brain into the trance. And we look around to see if we are falling into the point where we will be rescued, because it's winter. And it's been around kilometers above the ground at that point, and we realized we're falling completely in different direction. We've been flew in different direction. And it's tundra. There is nothing, only snow you can see, and nothing else. We realized that when we jumped in a different direction and flew with the wind, brought us to a different point where we're gonna land. During the winter, you can don't mind. I have no clothes. And when you're falling into snow piles in tundra, there is no little chance to be rescued. Yakutia, it's a winterland. It's a chance to be rescued, a little chance to be rescued in that circumstances. And it's minus 25 Celsius degrees outside. So we've, with instructor, decided that we're going to turn the plane, the parachute into without controlling it. So whatever it would bring us will be better than being landed somewhere where we wouldn't be able to be rescued. And so we end up somewhere a kilometer from the house, some house somewhere in nowhere. A kilometer I've ran to that house, the first house that been on my way, and everything started there. Very funny story now. Just imagine the picture. Winter, it's a winterland, you can call. You are warm in your house and somebody's knocking to your door. You open the door and there is a naked guy. There was no emotions in that household because they didn't expect to see it during the winter in winterland. Somebody's knocking on the door in wearing only shorts. But at that point, all neighborhood was already announced that there is a process going, that there is a records being facilitating, and that could be if somebody would see the team crew or somebody who is part of that process of setting the record, or be open-minded to help if there is any help needed. So there is a lot of details on the jump itself, how it's been facilitated by the crew first. He's going into. So there was three going back. So he been brought back to the facility, which was supporting all this setting up the record. There was three planes set to flew to support all this process. The first plane had the flag, Russian flag, and some information on we are strong. The second one was checking on the higher end point, somewhere the 3 kilometers above the ground, and the last plane had only 4 people, and I was one of those 4, and we flew 4 kilometers above the ground, the highest point at that for that purpose. Camera crew, 2 camera crew, me and instructor. So the whole crew, camera people, the plane got back to a facility, and me and the instructor is not being found anywhere near. At that point, all the crew have decided on calling us dead, because it happened in tundra. It happened in among the snow land, you call, and there is no way to live, to be alive if you fell somewhere in among the woods, among the place where there is no people around. 3 minutes later, I show up, as you remember, I've been at the house, and the people that had the car, they brought me back to facility. Owner of insurance that insured my life at that point been waiting for me at that facility as well, and you should see his face when he see that I am alive, how much money he saved. Everybody was happy to see me. But that jump taught me for the first time that I am capable of changing the reality. And it's been a start point for all my memories to recall. Those old memories and the experience of jumping brought me to a idea that we are all alive forever. Yes. Immortal, that we are all immortal. Up to that point, I never would think of it. And if I would listen to myself 5 years before what I'm saying now, I would look into myself and would say I'm crazy. That person is crazy. Wouldn't even listen to things about being immortal. But from that point, information started to come my way as an insight that there is a chances to that we are immortal. how to get to a point, how to get to that state. And because of that, I've set four tests to test if we are immortal or not. First of all, the first test to test if we are immortal and if we are capable of moving our reality from one point to another, being a test of when I've been закопал. Buried in snow for 13 hours. And that test, when I've been buried with the snow, it's a different experience that I set purposely to create the state of my mind where I can access my memories that are not accessible not from this life, but prior, or different dimensions that what would come to my mind, what insights I would get. So that test been set. And during that process, I've been showing how human being created or born. The structure of this universe been showing me during that test or being buried in the snow for 13 hours. Second test that brought me a new insights, new realizations, and information is got here the idea how to do that test from one of the Russian author who had the procedure of how to get immortal through the process of 3 buckets of thing. Lermontov is the author of that story. And the idea of the story of that Lermontov is that the person in order to get immortal, you need to go through 3 buckets. Each contains certain things. So you need to put your body into one bucket full of one thing, and then next bucket full of the other thing, and next bucket full of the other thing. And that's how you get yourself, you change your brain, your state of being, and you change your reality and become mortal. So that's where idea of that second test came into play. And on top of it, I got some instructions came to me that this story of that author has a meaning, deeper meaning. It's not just a story, it has exact instructions. And getting as a source of that second test, that story, instead of having 3 buckets of different things, we've decided to mix the first, have only 1 bucket, but mix a couple things from those 3 buckets from the story. So what we've decided to do, we've decided to have a bucket full of water, but put so much salt into the water so it would become that salty that there is no more salt could dissolve in that water. So it was 300 kilograms salt for 3,000 liters of water. So that concentrate of salt stopped even dissolve in that water no more, because there is no more it been able to dissolve. That's how much salt it had. So what we needed to do, we needed to put it into a freezing temperature, 10 Celsius below, 10 Celsius. If you know physics, the things physically, biochemically, what process takes place. Concentrate, body reacts on that concentration of salt same way if you would put into the fire. It's like the same. It would it represent the salted water, cold below freezing temperature. It's like a cold water from the story of Lermontov that I took as a as the point to move with the immortal process to get to it. So it's freezing water and boiled water at the same time. So instead of having two buckets, one with a freezing cold water and bucket of boiled water, I combined both, having a salted water, that salty below freezing temperature. So it's kind of represent freezing water at the same time boiled water, because the reaction of a body would be the same. The body would burn immediately. It happened January 19. What that test taught me, I've been in that salted consistent concentrate for 7 minutes. And what I've learned, that you never want to rely on your experience, because every time something happened, something different happened. It all depends on your brain. Very important things. If you are doing the same process over and over, but your brain open to different possibilities and the results out of the process, it will give you different process and different experience, even if you've done it so many times. Second thing that I've learned, this process, this second test taught me, is to keep keys, that the universe gives you the keys, it communicates to you. And the important part that I've learned, to listen those keys and to make a point of them, notice them. Before this test happened, before facilitating this test, I started to get insights. They were coming to me constantly. First time I got an insight, couple days prior to this test, to put myself into that salted concentrate. And it came as a statement: don't wash away the salt. Don't wash away. That's like insights I started to get over and over. He explains a little bit what's going on with the physical body when you ever try to swim in a very cold water, you would understand when you have or freezing hands, you would understand that you cannot put your hands under the warm water because you can burn the hands, or either you can lose your skin or parts of your body if your body been completely frozen. And of course, this process causes a lot of pain. For your body to be unfreeze this way under the warm water, it's a lot of pain. But I had an experience in my life that because I've been trained my body for so long in the freezing cold ocean, swimming for so long daily, I knew that it's gonna be painful. I was ready for it because I experienced that pain, having the body completely freezing and then going under the warm shower. It's just gonna be painful for 5-10 minutes and it's gonna go away. That's how my mind was working. So 7 minutes, I've been into that salted concentrate of salted water. I'm in the bucket of that water, of that concentrate. I am leaving the bucket. I'm coming out. Set the record, and the process is done. I'm alive. I left the bucket. I got off of it. I got off of it. Nothing happened. I'm alive. My body is moving. I feel my hands. I feel my body. The test is already somewhere in the past. I feel that I feel it's like 30 minutes later. I feel it's in the past. Everything is normal. It got back into my brain, into my subconsciousness. But discomfort was bothering me because the salt is on my skin and it starts to eat my skin a little, give me a discomfort. But how my brain was working. 30 minutes later, nothing happened to me. I am alive. My body is alive. I feel my skin. I feel my hands, fingers, feet, toes. So nothing gonna happen. I can go and have a shower. And I went into the shower and I turned on not hot water, not warm water, just not to kill my body right away. I turned on only a cold water, which is probably saved my body. Cold water only. My brain was telling me that the process of pain I would get if I would get under the hot water. So I've decided that cold water shouldn't be bad. And you should see what started to happen to my body. My body started to bubbling up, started to the process like you burned you meat, your skin. It's like you are in the fire. Your whole skin starts to bubbling up. You start to burn. I've started to feel burning. And I've been able to control my conscious at that point, and I just put it all into my feet, fixating on my feet. So I released my body from the pain. I was telling myself that it's a pain within the body, it's a burning, and it's gonna be fine within the body. But I've put it all into my feet. I've lost some of the skin. Some parts of my feet, of my skin started to fall off. I was fine. I was fine because I knew I can heal myself. And I had no time to waste to just feel bad for myself, feel the pain, and then go like treat myself. I've the team, my team put the bandages over my damaged skin, all over my feet. I couldn't walk into my shoes no more, so I was wearing the flip-flop, not the flip-flops. I was wearing open shoes. It was painful though. But I had to go because I had another process, another meeting that is 1.5 day away from the point where I was. So I was wearing slippers. I was sleeping in a train for all that time. And when I woke up, I went out, I left the train, and the crew admin of that, the next meeting, been meeting me at the station. As I met the crew, my new crew, I looked down to my feet to see how the bandage is looking, and I realized that my feet doesn't look normal. They don't have the same shape. They sink down. The bandages stick to my skin, to my meat, to my plot. The bandage is stuck to my flesh. So next day I had that event that I've been facilitating. And prior to that event, I needed to heal myself. So I stopped, I asked the crew to get me a wine or alcohol so I can heal myself. I came home, they brought me to a apartment where I stood for that matter. I got all the bandages off of the flesh, and I healed myself with the alcohol. And next day I was at the event, but I was naked, bare feet. 3 days passed, and my skin and flesh completely rejuvenated, healed. Next test, the February 14th. Valentine's Day. I set the next test for myself to move me from point A to point B on a February 14th on a Valentine's Day. So I've decided to choose that particular day. So this way I would be very creative to tell my wife that I love her. It's been in Yakutia. How the test been done? Iceberg, thick as 2 meters down. We made a hard, dig the hard in that ice, that is big iceberg, deep as 1.5 meters. So what the idea of that test is to put me down into that iceberg and freeze me to a freezing temperature. Again, I was looking for the state of mind where I can control the reality. But for that matter, that was 14th of July, Valentine's Day. I've decided to be creative. So that's why the shape of the hole been done as a heart. And then we'll take a picture and with the cameras would record it for my wife as well. And of course, I added some ink to it as well. Irina, I love you within that ice. So I am in that heart. The heart been freezed. I'm in the freezing in the ice for 13 minutes without breathing. 13 minutes, no air. I didn't breathe. At that point, for the first time in my life, I've learned what happiness is. You all don't know what happiness is because you are taking it as a for granted. The first inhale is a happiness. Though I've been very trained myself, my body is very trained, and I could not breathe. I was able to not breathe for 6 minutes, but never 13. I couldn't even think of a possibility to that person could be alive, not breathing for 13 minutes. As it turns out, you are capable of doing it as well. And that's what the happiness is. Every inhale is a happiness. I've been in that ice for 13 minutes. I lost 1 kilogram. I don't know how it works. And this is instructions for people who want to lose weight. This is a joke. He is joking. If you are looking for a fast way to lose weight, 1 kilogram, 13 minutes, 1 kilogram, you can guess how much you can lose if you will be there for longer. He's just expanding this joke on losing the weight. There was a question from our audience asked how long you were capable of having the can you you cannot breathe. What is your experience? They're asking. He is saying that you know what, I'm not sure because this is something I'm still learning, but I had an experience when I was training myself to hold my my breath under the water for extended time and I found myself that I drained. Not sure what happened because I I remember only the memories of that experience being when I went under the water, hold my breath. The next memory that I remember from that experience, that the team crew is woke me up, and in my mouth I taste the blood coming out of my mouth. What happened is there was another coaches, swimming coaches. They know that I've been trained myself every day for holding my breath, holding my whole breath under the water for some time, and they knew if there is no signs of me within the 5 minutes in the pool, it's okay. But then they noticed it's over 15 minutes and I'm still under the water, so they decided to save me. And they got me off the pool, and they started to do a heart massage, and they didn't get that I didn't drain. I didn't get water into my mouth. I still was holding my breath. My conscious just turned off. I've been in a different dimension. They didn't know, and they thought that I got water and drained out of the out of it. So they tried to restart my heart when there is no water in your in the stomach, in your lungs. So they broke a couple of my ribs. It gave me a lot of experience and knowledge. There is a picture. I am under the water, but I'm still keep breathing. I still keep breathing, and I have a sense of keep breathing under the water. And the sharp move from the point where my mind was into the where my brain turned on with the blood in my mouth when they tried to save me, got me off one dimension into the other. And that's where it showed me that I can be in different dimension at the same time. It's just I've been taking from one dimension into this dimension very sharply. And I'm not sure which one was most important at that point. Stay under the water and keep breathing, just what was happening to me under the water, being in different dimension, or come back into this reality. After that experience, I started to gain new capabilities. Interesting point. When that crew saved me, that's what they were thinking they're doing. They brought me to a doctor to check all my life senses, if I am normal, if I'm still able to like get back, because I was feeling fine. It just was interesting point. So when the doctor did tests and checked all the life reactions, they all was normal. My blood pressure was normal, 120 to 60 to 70, as a normal for everybody else. My pulse was normal. My whole body reacted to that experience as it was normal experience for my body. What happened, I've been in 2 dimensions simultaneously, coming back from one with such a sharp coming back into this reality. My body reacted to it normally. There was no signs of me draining. There was no signs of me dying. What knowledge it gave me? that I've done this before. And what knowledge, what else it gave me? The knowledge that our conscious, it's one common conscious, and we exist in different dimensions at the same time with the same conscious, but we gain different experience and life purpose, life experience in different dimensions. But we are capable of move from one dimension to another. And that's what I'm going to do tonight with Dmitry, who will have the first session with me tonight here, where I will be putting him back on his feet. You remember, this is from the beginning of the video. He mentioned that there is a paralyzed person who is paralyzed for the last 25 years. So he is Oleg. This is Oleg. Will be able. He is saying that he will be capable of putting that guy back on his feet today by moving his conscious from one dimension to another, by showing his conscious brain that there is a different dimensions where he is capable of walking. So we'll get that information from another dimension, we'll bring him back into this reality, and his brain will build up the new reality in this reality based on the knowledge gained in different dimensions, that he's still walking. So that test under the water and move from one point dimension into the other and still having the same life senses as I had prior to that experience showed me that it's normal for our body. And the last test, if you remember, there was 4 tests that brought me to a point where I live completely different life and chose to apply my knowledge to heal, to put people back on their feet, even if their brain is locked within the information, then there is no chance for people to walk anymore. So the last test that I've facilitated, it's not the last one, sorry. One of them. Жидкий азот. One, sorry. It's 1 hour. The test contains to put Oleg would go into the bucket full of liquid nitrogen and spend there an hour. There is a book in Spain called 30 Minutes Before Mortality. It explains the process, took place when I facilitated the test on spending an hour in a liquid nitrogen. And that's why I facilitated that test. But though I wasn't able, my fears turned on and I wasn't able to do 30 minutes. It happened in 2020. I picked the day, the Mother's Day, the Women's Day, International Women's Day, March 8th, to facilitate this test. So I've decided that I will go into a liquid nitrogen for an hour. I will spend there an hour and will read the Yesenin. It's a love poem by author Yesenin. And you remember what nitrogen is, liquid. It's where the temperature of that liquid is below 110, 160 to 170 Celsius below the freezing temperature. So the point was for that International Women's Day that I'm going to be in that liquid nitrogen, controlling my brain, controlling my body, stay alive. But the crew would give me a rose. I'm reading the poem to my wife. The crew would give me a rose. I would drop the rose into that liquid nitrogen, and the rose would freeze up immediately, and it would break into the pieces. Beautiful move with slow motions. The cameras within the space where the liquid nitrogen, where I put myself. So I am in that space with the liquid nitrogen. The cameras with that recording me being there needs to be changed every 15 minutes because of this, they are getting destroyed. So every 15 minutes, I have a crew member checking on me. During that process, I put myself into the state of my brain, meditation state, some sort of terra state. And every time the crew would come back, the first time the crew come back, I came back into the reality. I brought myself back to the senses. And I've checked, okay, 15 minutes passed, I passed away. And then the second time the crew member came back to change the cameras, that recording the process, it brought me back to my conscious. So the 30 minutes passed, the crew member came back to change the camera, asking me if we continue the test, if you want to continue, Oleg. And Oleg is looking around, coming back to his senses, saying, yes, I don't feel anything. I don't feel any pain. I don't feel anything. Yes, let's continue. And all of a sudden, I have a thought to touch my body. Nothing in pain. I just had a thought, touch your body. So I touched my stomach, and I realized there is no stomach. I feel the brick of ice. So the other thing crossed my mind and asked me to check your back. I asked myself to go and check your back with your other hand. I touch my back, and it's a brick of ice. And I understand that my body, full all the way from the solar plexus all the way to the bottom, is freezed, the brick of ice. 30% of my body, I've realized, is completely brick of ice from inside out. And that's, my brain got into fear. And the fear got upon me. I got into the fear. The fear not to die, fear to stay alive, half of a body, that I'm going to lose half of a body that's completely freezed up, and half from the solar plexus. I hope I'm saying it correctly, solar plexus, from the chest all the way up is alive. So I want to be immortal, I'm saying to myself, but not just the 30% of my body. That fear didn't give me so much fun, though as I'm analyzing now what was going on through my mind, I created that reality. And I stopped the test. My fear crossed my mind. I couldn't move on with that. So I've stopped the test. But the most interesting thing started to happen after. Freezing in liquid nitrogen is different from the freezing in ice bucket, ice water. When the liquid nitrogen is starting to leave your body because it freezes also with getting into your body. When it starts to leaking from your body starts to leak as well. I poke myself into my stomach, and my finger goes through my stomach. I've realized that the only thing that will bring me back, keep my body together, is if I'm going to just use the bandages, use the ceramic sheets, wrap myself with the ceramic sheets, and keep myself, just my body together, so it would stop leaking. I was starting to lose my senses. I fell with pain shock. No, pain shock, болевой shock. So I had a shock over the pain, and I fell into a sleep for 3 days. And 3 days later, when I got back to my senses, I realized that now I don't feel pain that much anymore. I feel the solid body is coming back. My body is becoming soft. It's not leaking no more. It's not draining no more. I can't move. I can't put my finger through my stomach anymore. It's solid. But I had a lot of scars. If you're interested to see those pictures, you can access my social media, vk.com. I still have the pictures after that test, so where my body been all in scars. Three days after the test, my body became solid back again. And 3 weeks later, my body healed, been completely healed from any scars that I ever received after that test. And that's what showing to me. He's referring been showing, not that he learned, that been showing to him that we are capable of rejuvenate our body to regenerate our body. I think I'm saying it correctly. Heal our body with being 30% of our body being completely dead. We can actually heal it completely. But I've been showing the learning that if I started something, I cannot end it just because my fear. I cannot get fear interact. So I've been healed completely, but only one spot in my body couldn't heal. Is a reminder of that learning teachings that been showing to me that if I started something with a straight brain, with setting up my conscious to do something, I need to complete it. So I had a spot on my body as a hole in my body. Sometimes later down the way, that hole in my body stick back together. The flesh stick back together, get back together, healed. But the flesh in that spot was dead. But as you remember, I never went to a doctor since I healed myself from being paralyzed. I did surgery to myself as well, with whatever my wife had in her purse, tweezers for the eyebrows. So I did the surgery to myself, got rid of that dead skin from the spot that's been left after this test with a liquid nitrogen. I cut off of my flesh that dead skin. That's a scar I still have from that surgery. And it's like reminder for myself from the universe. If you got some responsibles on your shoulder, you are responsible to complete the test. Just trust yourself and trust the universe. And at that point, test, I left the test halfway through. Couldn't complete 30 minutes to the end. I couldn't complete because of fear. And at that point, the door to mortality through the water being closed to me. If up to that point I've been able to learn a lot information, to test a lot of things through the water, that door with the water being closed at that point to me. So 2020 is a tremendous year for me. That was the end of my mortality through water. But I've been opened another door to mortality through autonomous lifestyle. Now I am in the process of technologically learn what it is and how it impacts our brain. So, and from that started another spin of my tests, when I got a electrical shock through my body. Was I've set the test where my body took electrical shock, and I wanted to check if my brain could handle that shock and recreate the reality and stay healthy without any sense of impact. Interesting test as well. Another test that I facilitated after that is the test where I've been buried for 3 days. 2 times, in the spring, in the fall, for three days. Last April for 3 days. And those tests, when I've been buried for 3 days and 5 days, I've got exact evidence, final and straight evidence that our brain create our reality. What is the burying in a grave? I've been buried in a grave. What is burying in a grave when you're alive? It's when your brain understands that there is limitations of movement. It's a limited space, you can move around. Your brain is trying to sabotage and trying to tell you this is a space, you can't move within the space. It's sabotaging you. It starts to talk back and forth, still talking for some times, but then something happens and the brain shuts down and starts to create your own reality. And guess what? That reality becomes your real reality, and you start to live that reality and feel it with all your body. You see that reality, you hear that reality, you can touch that reality, you can touch and taste the reality on your with your tongue. What I saw, what I went through with this test. So we got a classic coffin, classic coffin, limited space. For my measurements of my body. And you remember they all goes from the top a little bit bigger shape for the shoulders to feet and a little smaller as it goes down to your feet. And when I was measured for the first time in a funeral home to for that test, I've went to the coffin. They closed the cover, and I realized I cannot even move there. I cannot even touch my own nose. You cannot even move. But so first day passed. I am in a coffin under the ground. There is a communication with the external world. There is oxygen coming into the coffin so I can stay alive. But no communication besides just the question that been communicated to me if I am continuing the test or not. First day passed and I got a communication with a question if I'm continuing the test, and I answered yes. I realized that my brain shut at that point. There is no internal talk. No. So there was a ventilation just for you to know exactly how it's been done. And this experience gave me a couple life hacks. First of all, first day, сутки. First full day, 24 hours, I couldn't move. My brain was on. You can't move. You can't turn your head. You can't touch yourself because everything is just measured exact the size of your body. And interesting fact that you can't even interpret if you are sleeping, if your brain is sleeping, shutting down or not, because it's all been facilitated under the ground. It's dark. Your brain can't trace if you are sleeping, conscious off or not. And the brain can't trace if you are actually sleeping or not. Sometimes you would realize, the brain would realize that I've been sleeping because within the first 24 hours, my brain would alert me that the part of my body turned sleepy, gave me some discomfort. So it was telling me that I've been sleeping, and when I woke up, I felt the discomfort within my body. Any other way to trace if you've been sleeping or not? No, any other way. What happens second 24 hours is something turns off. The brain, either the coffin got big or my body got small. I've realized that I can move my body and I can turn around and I can move my hands. We start to change our reality. That's what I learned. We start to expand. I don't know. I can't answer this exactly. Don't even ask me if, how it happened. I don't know how it happened. Your brain tells you that it's different reality now, and either coffin got bigger or my body got smaller. I was able to move around. I was able to turn backward on got on the side, move my hands. And if you're asking me if I wanted to go to a bathroom, I'll answer that question again as well right away, because I was practicing autonomy at that point. I didn't need to go to the bathroom. The question from audience was what you were wearing during this test, and he said it's just a regular clothes, comfortable to lay on and to move on with in. Ventilation was there also, just in case, the question from audience, if there was ventilation. Oxygen, yes. Nothing else. Every 24 hours, I would have a communication that the 24 hours passed. That's it. No any evidence, no any other evidence of being of this reality, present in this reality. And of course, at the beginning, first 24 hours, my brain was on, and it was telling me, yes, it's dark, it's completely shut, there is no light, there is no movement. What happened next is next 24 hours when the shape of coffin either started to expand or my body started to get smaller. I don't know. The loss of shapes lost. The being locked in this coffin, the sense of being locked, completely gone. The darkness that been present there for the first 24 hours, gone completely. It turned into the full light. And I've realized that there is no light and no dark within our reality either, because it's been created by our brain as well, by our mind as well. I was looking with my eyes open around the coffin, being able to move around, but there was no darkness no more. It was light. It was light as the daylight. I was feeling that I am on the beach. I was feeling that I am seeing the water. I am on the sand under the sun. I was able to get the sun into my hands and play with the sand. I was able to get my hand on the sand and touch the sand and feel this is the sand. But I was feeling it wasn't the sea, it was oasis. Oasis. Not sure I'm saying it correctly. Because later on, I started to get a breathe off that place. And the breath wasn't dry, it was moistured. And it was very moist, and I even been able to try it with my finger, putting it on my tongue and tried with the taste of that moisture. And that's my learning. I've realized we are in a matrix. We are in certain state of our brain. Everything that we see is not the real what it is there. Our brain created the reality that somebody wants us to see. The matrix dictate what we see. Our brain translate the matrix formula and give us exactly what the matrix is dictating. Because see the experience. I was able to touch the scent. Being in the coffin, locked within my body, my mind created new reality. It was where I was able to move, see the oasis not far away from me, laying on the sand under the sun, touching the sand, touching my stomach, feeling the warmth out of the sun heating up my body. And I've learned, started to look into quantum physics after that. What is it I'm seeing? How the picture in our brain been created? Yes, you know from the normal science that what we see is projection of what real. It's coming into our eye. Now there is a specific terms going on from the traditional science, sorry. And that's what picture is. So we receive the information from outside coming into through our eyelids, going into a neural pathway down to our back and going down to our back side of the brain, which is the no. I'm sorry, I need to translate that. So the information coming into through our eyes, going in through the neural pathway to the back of our brain, which which translate that information and bring the picture in your mind. And that's what you see. That's what you think you see. What is when you say I hear? Somebody I hear, when you say I hear, it's a vibration of energy. Vibration of energy impact your membrane in your ear with a different frequency. Different frequency is different information. Through that vibration and frequency, the information go through the neural pathway down to the back of our brain. That decoder that translate that information and vibration of the frequency into the picture, into the your brain, and saying this is that. So you don't hear. It's actually been created in your brain. Same with every single sense of your body. Same with what you taste. Whatever you taste on your with your tongue, this is the information decoded, going through the neural pathway down to the back of your brain, going through the translator, going through that decoder, translating what you taste, giving you the sense of what it is. And it gives you the picture of what it is in your brain. Let's say you taste the lemon. You don't know that you taste the lemon, but it goes through your neural pathway down to the back. It decodes the information and gives you the picture what it is, and you saying it's a lemon. It tastes like a lemon. Same with everything else. So now we know we have a neural path, we have tastes, and we have a senses, but where that decoder, where the not decoder, but that encrypting thing, where that coming from in our brain, why it needs to translate every information. why it needs to give us evidence of what we see. It is the reality. And that encrypting thing within every brain is different. Every single one of us will have different encrypting system installed in their back of their head. He's talking about egregors now. It's unclear to me. I don't know much about that, but he's saying the further you are from your egregor and parameters of your encrypting system in the back of your brain will give a different experience the further you are from egregor. Egregor is represent, when he is explaining a little, is when you are attached to a certain culture, let's say to a religion. So you egregor within that religion. So you build up your reality within that egregor, within that religion. So it's translate the information differently for you going through that encrypting system within your brain, giving you different experience rather than somebody who has different egregor, let's say, from a different culture, not attached to a religion. Though information is the same, make sure you understand that. But the way your encrypting system translated, it's different based on your egregor. For example, another point I want to touch base on for you. Some people saying we see the velvet color, velvet color, purple, I'm sorry. Some of you who meditate a lot could say that I see a lot of purple color when I meditate. Purple color is a matrix. It's sort of the purple it's a purple screen from the matrix. That's all. That matrix build up from the purple color, and all the reality that it's been built upon it is built on that screen. And you will go and experience exactly what you have in your mind. That's why whatever you expect to happen will happen, because the mind will build up that matrix on that screen of your life that you call reality. So another way to explain, your screen recorded the information that you expect to happen, and it will happen because your brain will make it a reality. It's a very fast process. You can't even catch sometimes, because you have a new idea, you build up the path how to make it live. That idea been projected through the screen of matrix and projected through your back of your, now don't remember the name, that translator in the back of your mind, and gave you the idea that this is your reality and that's what you see. Frederick, if you're talking, I can hear. Let's say when some times ago, none of you had the idea that we are alive, or we are possibly can stay alive without food, water, or sleep, right? And having that idea in your back of your mind, in your brain, it will build up your reality. If you wouldn't eat or drink for 3 days, your body would start to die and lose the sense of reality, and person would die from the starvation. Now you implemented new idea based on the knowledge and experience and science that's been done so far. There is a lot of people who don't eat, and they proving the point that this is a possibility. Now you accepted that possibility within your brain. That translation system in the back of your mind translated into the reality. Now if you go to do 40 days dry fast without water and sleep and food, you won't pass away. Why? You never would die from starvation, because you gave your brain new knowledge and evidence that it's possible. So it will build up the new reality. Just know that it's a knowledge and tool for the brain to build up anything that you ever hold in your brain. On top of that, the brain is not letting us go too far beyond our limits. If there is no evidence of having something in your life, you're not accepting idea because of certain regulations within your brain installed. It's not going to happen. If you don't believe you are able to survive, you are not going to survive. But when you expand your knowledge, when you learn that it's possible, it will create the different life, and it will give you a knowledge that it's all possible. Just know that your brain is just like your best guardian. It's the dog in another way, who guards your ability. And if you open up something new for yourself, you are capable of install it into your life, and your dog who guards your safetyness within your brain will let you have that reality. So after that, there have been a lot of different experience been done to me as well, as I was learning more and more how to control my reality and build up the reality, access different dimensions. I've came to a realization, or not realization, the knowledge was given to me. Oleg is saying that now I am capable of healing people. He is talking about there was a question from audience, how to shut down the internal dialogue that keeps your brain busy, right? Attached to this reality. And he's saying there is a lot of techniques. It's just the same with swimming. When you swim more than like 2 hours, you will find yourself in peace with nothing, no even the thought of dialogue. There is no sub persons within your brain that have a dialogue no more. Oh, where is my here. And the internal dialogue, it's your internal dialogue, it's your it's your God, I apologize, translating. Subpersonality within your experience. Let's say you are a son and you participated being a father as well. So your father perspective and experience of your father always argue with your being son, different experience. Different experience. It's the internal dialogue. The son has his own experience. The father within your brain has different experience. Every sub personality has its meaning, right? And you leave that sub personalities as well, not just within your brain. As a son, you're striving to expand your family. You are trying to make as many kids as possible. Your sub personality is a father striving to save the family, trying to take care of the family. So it's always misleading, not misleading, always communication within your sub personalities. But at the point when everything will be completed within the sub personalities, when there is nothing else they can discuss, there won't be anything else to talk about within your brain. He's joking a little bit. It's just related to experience with a coffin as well. But I've learned a couple of points how to go toward your mortality, how to learn and better yourself. First point I want to give you all, and I have them listed on my social media and vk.com as well. First of all, do what you fear to do. Always do what you fear to do. When you go through the fear, you expand. You give your brain and your conscious direction to expand. And your brain will find the tools how to expand and go through the fear by gaining more knowledge. He is talking about a lot of his practices because there is a question from audience: do the women should do the same and try to go through the fear following your recommendations? And he's saying there is no difference. The energy is the same. I can show you that he works with the energies. I can show you different experiences. I can show you what difference between man's energy and women energy. It just comes up differently, but it's the same at the end of the day. But at the end of the day, if man can get a little bit feminine side, learn how to love and accept, he gains ability to become more God within the skin. Same for women. If she learns how to be strong and survive, on top of her being feminine, but learn how to be mainly adapt some mainly things, she is becoming a part of the God. The question from audience: how to see different dimensions, realities? He's saying just give your brain the instruction that it's that you can possibly see. Give the brain information that it's possible. The thing is, you don't have to even think about it. Just understand it exists. And it's not about belief that it exists. It's just exists no matter what. Uh, you can actually follow the affirmations. So you can set up the affirmations for your brain to do regularly affirm that there is all the realities, and the realities where I have everything that I desire in this one, and I can achieve and access those realities as well. One day, your brain will believe and make it happen. The thing is that you can think of anything. Just understand that it exists already. We are not capable of creating the thoughts. We are capable of reading the thoughts that exist within this field. And he gives an example. Let's take, for example, radio, right? In Soviet Union, there was a radio that caught only two stations, only two been available. All the rest of the world was cut off, like there is not existence of those worlds. But then some family were able to buy a Chinese radio from China, which would cut every single station on the planet. And guess what? The same with our brain. We have a limitations just set in our brain, but there is you can access any other dimensions. Just realize that the limitations within your brain. Same with the TV in Soviet Union. He's giving an example, similar example. There is a question from audience. How did you restore your body? How did you get your body warm so you were able to heat up to melt the ice? And he's saying, honestly, I don't even know. It's not that I was able to melt the ice and stay alive. It's kind of, I've died a lot of times and I just came back. The question, did you know that you will die? And he said, yes, I knew that there is no way in any of my tests, any of what I've done so far, that I will stay alive. And I went to do the tests knowing that I'm going to die, and I accepted it. What draw you to do all this, facilitate all this scary for like dangerous tests in your life that impact your life? You could die at any point. And he's saying, the mortality. Mortality, and on top of that, the fact that everything been created within the brain. So it's been leading me. Another thing that he's saying that some source gives him information. He doesn't know what it is. It's like the information that he knew, but being blocked when he was born on this earth, and everybody else has the same setup. And I kind of like recall information that I knew before. It's not that I've learned; I've recalled the information that I knew. Uh, see the point? Everything that you expect to happen in the future already happened in the past. He explains how he gets back to life, so many experiences. He does understand. He was giving another chance, another. He came back. He brought him back from the death so many times, and he's explaining how he been able to just catch how his body, his consciousness goes back into this reality. First, your body, your flesh. Your matter starts to react to outside world with a pain or something, and then there is no thoughts, no nothing, no even talk within the brain, and then the senses coming back little by little. Start things would come into reality. It's like you coming from nowhere into this flash, and little by little there is no world, and then next minute you will realize there is expanding of the things that you can see, and they are showing up within your brain, and you call reality. How did you know that you will stay alive? The question from audience. And he's answering, I don't know. If I would know, I wouldn't even do that. I don't know. I didn't know I would stay alive. And they're asking, how did you do? How did you stay alive? He's like, I don't know how I did it. If I would know, I wouldn't keep going. I wouldn't keep, I would already be more mortal. How about your crew? How come they was taking so much responsibilities on their shoulders, knowing that you are going to die at any point? And he's saying, no, never happened this way, because I would always write down an agreement that all responsibilities are for what happened within this test is my own choice and my own responsibilities. Some uh, he I'm not sure about the question, not really clear. I can hear. The question from audience, how do you know where to move next? What would be your move next? How do you know? And he's saying, nobody knows. I don't know either. I don't have instruction. We're born, there is no instruction. For some reason, we have that installment in our back of our mind that creates all our reality. We have limitations within our conscious to see things exactly the way they are showing up in our life. There is no instruction what would be my next move. I don't know. It's just coming as a knowledge. For example, when I was cut off the experiencing the different realities within the water because of my fear that I got, I've been locked out of that experience that related to water. No more. That's what I feel. But there was another door open, and the experience show up for the next move as autonomous lifestyle, giving another advantage, and next move is toward experiencing reality through that. But see, I've been autonomous. I've been practicing dry fasting, not eating, not drinking for 24 hours, 50 days, for 50 days. And it didn't give me that much tools and that much out of it, because what I gain out of my tests gives me more tools and more understanding, insights, and knowledge than autonomy. Maybe it's not much time though, 50 days. My first time autonomy 50 days was in 2021, so it may be not enough time. Interesting point that he's bringing. The lady is asking, how do you give the knowledge to somebody who never walk or has the problems with the body being paralyzed? How do you give them new belief that they will be able to walk and they actually start to walk after your sessions? And he's saying, I don't give any beliefs. See, we exist in different dimensions, in different realities simultaneously. We walk in other realities. All you do is move from this reality person into the reality where he walks, and he gets that experience that he is walking freely without any problems in different reality. And that would be a starting point for a brain to create the new reality in this particular dimension. And the point is that we don't know how many realities we live simultaneously within our consciousness. All our life, it's just like a game being recorded on a flash card that you use to. It's like the same game. You can move through the game different ways, different passes. Our life similarly. This game that we call a life, let's say, that metaphorically he is giving the example of being as a game for computer game. He's saying it has ability to better itself, expand. There is no the same scenario. The goal is to leave as many possible realities simultaneously, understand that ability. At the end of the day, the goal is to live the life every person on earth, to receive every experience, every scenario possible. And that's when you become God. When you completed this path, living every scenario possibly available. See, in order to create a universe, you need to know how to live that certain reality. In order to know how to live certain reality, to move from one to another, you need to actually access that information. Accessing the information give you an ability to build a new reality, to new universe. I'm sorry. And we have all this experience within us. If there is a questions regarding to his experiences, his background, his recordings from the test and stuff, and he's saying you can actually Google my name and last name. It will bring you a lot of links to the information that holds that experiences, to recordings, and it will bring you to a vk.com sorry, Instagram, he's saying. Not Instagram, the vk.com, my page there. I actually every day there I'm posting all insights, all the new information that comes to me, I post there. He's very funny though. So you going back to recommendations that I was started with. The first one, do what you fear to do. Another thing that I want to say, don't decline anything and don't get used to anything. Don't decline anything and don't get used to anything. and he's giving a example, let's say meat, not meat. Don't accept anything, don't decline anything either. Don't you get used to the food, and don't decline it either. Don't put yourself into circumstances where you need to make a choice. Get both if there is a choice between two. If there is 5 choices, get all. If there is 5 things that you need to choose from, get all 5. Don't put yourself into the situation where you need to make a choice. Remember that everything happened when you are ready for that to happen. It's another one from his VK post. He posted that statements, the life hacks on VK, so somebody's recalling and telling it also. Whatever will happen in the future already happened in the past. Just get that point for your brain to accept that you already went through it. Even if you fear it, just understand you already went through it before. You are holding only what you don't have. You don't own what you have. You don't own what you have. Frederick.
How many minutes are remaining?
What is it?
How many minutes are remaining for you to finish? You have started 3 hours.
I know. It's 20 minutes left. No, 10 minutes left.
And we have a meeting now. What do we do? We have a meeting with there's a group that is doing fasting with Satmaga. I think we should that way we can finish another time. What do you think?
You know what? We can just finish. It's most of the information been giving. I hope it's been interesting for you guys, and I hope you got most out of it. We'll post the VK link to that video below, so you can access this person, particular Oleg Rezyanov, directly through his social media. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let me stop sharing. All right, Frederick, thank you so much. I am leaving. Okay.
Yeah, we have to get you rest. You have never done anything like this. 3 hours.
Oh my God, it's been 3 hours. Thank you so much. Wow.
Yeah, it's quite long. Quite long.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Hope it was useful. Bye.
Yes, very. People are going to give us their responses. So thank you.
I hope so. Yes.
Yeah, I have to jump into another meeting now.
Yep.